And I'm joined by Peter Fahey, who's the Chief Constable of Greater Manchester Police. Good afternoon, Chief Constable. A difficult time to be head of the force today?
Well, you've got to take your good days and your bad days. You know, there are some serious incidents today, but that's also, to some extent, the story of Greater Manchester Police. Every day there are huge numbers of things that we deal with, very complex incidents. The vast majority go incredibly well, and we protect the public and we're bringing down crime. But quite rightly, the public expect big things of us, set high standards, and if we fail, then they call us to account. Let's look into some of those cases then. You've been criticised today for failing Claire Wood, the victim of the so-called Facebook fugitive George Appleton. And we've had the death of David Askew, the 64-year-old in Hattersley today, harassed for 10 years by youths. Have you failed David Askew, Chief Constable? I don't think so, because the officers up there today in Hattersley are absolutely devastated because they'd worked very, very closely with that family. In fact, the community support officer was visiting David every single day. Yesterday there was some damage to a gate and the PCSO actually came off duty to actually go and help David to fix the gate. This has been a long-standing problem with some local youths who've been harassing David because of his learning difficulties.
In our report, Inspector Finn said, I was struggling to think what more could be done. I mean,
well, what we were trying to do particularly was to try and get the family rehoused to another bungalow, but there appears to have been a waiting list, and tragically it's taken too long. We've put in CCTV. As I say, we were visiting the family every single day. We were trying to work with neighbours to try and get more evidence against the individuals.
And is that an easy thing, or do people feel intimidated that if they speak to the police, consequences will follow?
I think it's difficult to, criticise, local people, but yes, that is a difficulty we have. And the important thing to stress, unfortunately, is that across Greater Manchester, we have, day by day, lots of instances like this. People who are just seen as different, sometimes because of their race, sometimes because they're alcoholic, sometimes because, as in this case, they're disabled or got learning difficulties, and they are then targeted. And local officers try and work with that. In many cases, we're able to bring it to a satisfactory outcome. But obviously, in this case, it was taking too long to get the family rehoused. And sadly, it would appear that, as I say, something happened last night and David has collapsed.
Well, it seems that it might be taking too long in a number of cases. Confidence is low, rated second worst in the country for 43 forces, poor on dealing with local day-to-day crime, GMP, apparently. Yeah,
and the trouble with that, Andy, is that the data is at least 5 months out of date. For instance, the latest figures on confidence, and this is a national survey carried out, shows that confidence is improving and that we're in line to meet the targets set by government, and we're actually in the green, to use the jargon that are used by these inspectorate bodies. And the story about GMP is that we've had a lot of success in dealing with serious crime. We're bringing down crime. At the moment, crime is down by 13%. But in terms of this issue about detections, we're good at making the arrests. But in terms of things like offences taken into consideration, we're not as good as some other forces. And therefore, in these league tables, it looks, that we're not doing so well.
It's about confidence, though, Chief Constable. People in Hattersley don't have confidence in GMP tonight, do they?
Well, the figures, this is really, really important because, we carry out neighbourhood surveys locally, month by month. And at the moment, the figures we're getting is 70% confidence rate. So we're seeing big improvements. But you're absolutely right. I mean, this is the test of it. I don't think that the public are that interested in surveys, statistics, websites.
It's what's happening on their doorstep.
It's what's happening in their street. It is if they can come, they send their youngster into this city centre on an afternoon and feel that they're safe. It's what's happening to them locally. And that is why that's what we're working on, concentrating on, putting more officers into local neighbourhood policing. And that has got to be the ultimate test. And the surveys we're carrying out and the people we're asking are saying that policing is getting better. But obviously today, if you've been a victim of antisocial behaviour or a victim of burglary, the statistics are not a lot good to you.
Doesn't help, though, when police officers behave in the way that PC Jason Hanvey and PC Sergeant Andrew Kennedy have done with this 18-year-old girl that was arrested, held in custody in Collyhurst, held down in an inappropriate position, almost smothered, and told, "Move and I'll rip your skull off." Two of your officers convicted of misconduct, but they pleaded not guilty. They didn't feel that was a bad way to behave.
No. And I'll remind you that the complainant in the case didn't want to make a complaint, but we have taken that case forward and pursued it and taken those officers to court and secured a conviction, which shows the standards which we set and how importantly we treat this issue. Because, the vast majority of my officers do their job very professionally with a minimum of force, work really, really hard to support the public, and we've got to be absolutely robust. When officers like these let the side down.
So you're confident that the 8,000 other members of the forcing GMP know how to behave appropriately?
Well, I know that they face day by day provocation, difficult incidents they have to deal with, and the vast, vast majority deal with that, yes, extremely professionally, using the minimum of force. But when officers like this let us down, we will pursue them and we will take them to court.
Chief Constable, grateful for your time. Thank you.